When in bars and nightclubs, it's advantageous to go direct. And it's sort of shocking because I'm saying this since I'm an indirect sort of gamer. You know, I usually go indirect most of the times. However, when in the bars and nightclubs, you want to go direct, meaning you want to approach girls sexually and state in your intent, not exactly that you want to sleep with them, even though you could state that, but you want to show your fondness of the girl. When in a nightclub or a bar situation, go direct. It makes no sense to go indirect when there are lots of stimuli in the club, the lights, the action, the alcohol. So the girl is already in a sexually receptive state. So it's advantageous to go direct. So remember guys, go direct when in a nightclub and bar situation. Most likely the girl had a drink or two in the system, so she'll be more receptive to you going direct because the environment is conducive to that. It makes sense that you go direct in a nightclub or bar. The roll-off strategy is one of my favorite in game that I've been using and employing for years now. It's let's say the night is early. It makes no sense to try to wrap a girl up for the entire night. It's 10 o'clock. Why would you want to be gaming a girl on let's say a serious level when it's 10 o'clock and the club closes, the bar closes at 3 a.m. She's likely to go home towards the end of the night. So you want to game the girl in spurts, especially when it's early. So you want to give a little 10-second chat here, a little 30-second chat, flirt with the girl, go direct, get sexual, then bounce, roll off. Go game other girls, roll off. It makes no sense to try to wrap the girl up for the entire night, or she's gonna feel as though you're trying to crowd her or you're trying to take away from her fun. So game the girl in spurts and then bounce, and you can always see her again. It's not like you're not gonna see the girl again throughout the night. So remember, roll off and come back again. It's a favorite technique of mine. It's in a sense, it's a false time constraint. You know, you don't want to crowd the girl, so give her some space. Remember guys, roll off and then come again. You're bound to see the girl again during the night. In conjunction with the roll-off tactics, you want to build some pre-selection. So in other words, you want the girl to see you gaming other girls. You want her to see you being socializing with other girls, other people, guys, girls, doesn't fucking matter. So you want to build some pre-selection. You don't want a girl to look at you as the guy who's there in the corner, lonely, all by himself, gunning just for her. So you want to add some pre-selection in the mix and game other girls, chat to other girls, especially when it's early in the night. And you build a little competition factor. The girl feels a sense of urgency and she has to act, or she has to become more receptive towards you gaming her because you can take another girl home if push comes to shove. So you want to be the guy who's social and talking to other girls in the club. She's not going to get turned off because a lot of guys are under the impression that if the girl sees me gaming other girls, she's going to get turned off. It's not the case. So remember guys, game other girls, roll off, game other girls, and come back, game her, roll off, build some pre-selection, game other girls until the time is right where you can actually work on the logistics to taking her home. The truth is, you don't even have to enter the club or the bar in order to take a girl home and get laid. Listen, there are guys who show up literally before closing time just to try to pull. I have a buddy, or had a buddy years ago, he would tell me, hey Kenny, when it hits about 4 o'clock in the AM, call me so I can come to the club. So I would say to myself, what the fuck is this dude up to? Little did I know at the time, he was on to something great. He was trying to employ scavenger game to get laid at the end of the night. Now, like I said, at that time, I didn't know what the fuck he was on to. And the reason why he didn't get laid from running this sort of game, and he would only get laid sparingly, is because he didn't have much game and he didn't have much logistical know-how in how to take a girl home, you know, when you really boil it down, when you really boil it down. However, he was still on to something solid and great and advanced. Now, if I were to use that sort of game, scavenger game, which I do sparingly, I would take lots more girls home on a consistent basis. I don't even have to go to the club or participate in the whole clubbing thing. But it's only because I love it why I still go, get my drink on, get my party on. But you can literally go at the club or to the bar at closing time, Like literally get the fuck out of bed and go and try to pull something at closing time. Now, the next point is going to touch on this. Capitalizing off of other guys' work. In conjunction with scavenger game, you literally don't have to game girls at all at the nightclub or the bar. You can show up at closing time or, about an hour before closing time. You can scope out the scene for girls who are already at buying temperature, girls who are horny, girls who are a bit tipsy, drunk, whatever, however you want to term it, and you can scope them out and then run some last second game, full on sexual escalation, because they're already at buying temperature. So you can have guys gaming these girls the entire night and they're not going to take her home because guys are not even looking to pull, but they are injecting the girls with these high, good, positive sexual emotions without trying to pull, and you can swoop in at the last second and capitalize off of all of these guys' hard work and take the girl home with minimal game without even gaming her at all. So remember, guys, you don't even have to game girls at the club. You can wait until the later hours, you can show up or still be there, but then capitalize off of it by scoping out the girls who are already at buying temperature and just swoop down on them and try to take the girl home right away. When dealing with a lone wolf, now a lone wolf is a girl at the club or the bar who's by herself. You do have these girls occasionally who go out by themselves. Lone wolves are obvious, easier targets than girls who are in groups and bunches and shit like that. So what you want to do is scope out the girls who are alone, the lone wolves, and whenever you do spit your game, whatever that may be, try to isolate the girl. It'll be much easier to isolate a lone wolf because she doesn't have friends who are gonna talk her out of it, and she can't use the excuse of, well, my friends are over there, my girls are over there, so I can't really come with you. So isolate the lone wolf from the nightclub, from the bar. Tell her, hey, let's go out to a more quiet location where we can talk. Just right there, right there. Let's go right there to that sit down spot so we can talk. And you get that private isolation time where you can work your seduction charm and you can try to get the girl home from there. So remember, when gaming a lone wolf, a girl who's there by herself, don't keep the interaction there on the dance floor where the music is at. Try to take her outside for a smoke, if she smokes, whatever. And it's very simple. You can simply tell her, hey, let's go sit down over there, right there, real quick. And you take the girl, take her by the hand, or simply just walk. And she will walk with you, albeit, you have that sort of leadership vibe, and then you work from there. But you always want to isolate the lone wolf instead of staying there all night like a dumbass. Okay, so clamp down on the lone wolf if that's the type of girl whom you're attracted to and she happens to be alone. Always seek to isolate her. If for some reason you want to take a girl home and she happens to be grouped up, she's with her girls or she's with one other girl, logistically it'll be a lot more difficult than if you were pulling a lone wolf, a girl who's by herself. Now, if a girl is grouped up, it is advantageous to have your group or your wingman or wingmen and then work that sort of angle where you can merge sets, you can merge groups. You can introduce your girl to in her group to your group and your peer group and your buddies, and then you work that angle, y'all balance together, and then you isolate the girl from there. But it'll be very difficult to isolate a whole group, a girl from her group, when you're alone opposed to with a buddy or with a bunch of other guys. So that is the only case where I advocate being with your wingman or groups of guys, is where you're trying to pull a girl home who happen to be grouped up. Alright, just to add to that, if gaming the girl at the bar counter or wherever in the bar or the nightclub and her friends or a friend happen to show up, you want to take the initiative. Listen carefully. You want to take the initiative to introduce yourself before the girl interrupts and cause the set to crumble. So you're gaming the girl at the bar and her friend approaches. You want to say, hey, what's up? Are you her friend? Okay, cool, I'm Kenny. Hey, what's up? Blah, 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 blah. Charm her a bit and say, hey, can I talk to your friend Sonia or whatever her name is for a bit? Can I get 5 minutes with her? Once you take the initiative in that sort of way, it's very unlikely that the friend who's intruding is going to say, no, you can't have 5 minutes with my friends. So you want to take the initiative in that way, which will take the initiative away from her. So she's now left on the defensive, the intruding friend that is, and she would have no other choice than to allow you time 5 minutes, however minutes you ask for, to game her friend. So that's what you want to do. Don't allow the friends to come in and swoop and drag her away. Take the initiative. Get up before the friends really clamp down and say, hey, what up, bro? You're a friend? Okay, cool. I'm Kenny, blah, blah. I'm enjoying the conversation with your girl here. Can I have 5 more minutes? And then you keep the conversation flowing. Always take the initiative when the friends and the external interrupts come into the set. Rapid escalation with alcohol as your ally. Guys who don't drink are at a disservice when it comes to employing this sort of game. When a girl drinks at the club or the bar, and even when you're drinking, you have the excuse of plausible justifiability, plausible deniability when trying to take a girl home. For instance, if the girl is drinking and you're also drinking, the girl is more likely to excuse your sexual escalation, your flirtiness, you trying to kiss her, make out with her, and so forth. She's more likely to excuse that sort of forward behavior and blame it on the alcohol. He's drinking, I'm a bit tipsy, so that is justified. But if you're walking around the bar or the club with a bottle of water, soda, or whatnot, what justification do you have for making such forward, bold move on a girl when you're not even drinking alcohol? You have none. So psychologically, when you're drinking, the girl will likely excuse your forward behavior for the simple fact that you are drinking. She can always blame it on the alcohol. She can blame her receptivity towards your sexual advancement. She could blame that on the alcohol also, the fact that she's drinking and the fact that you're also drinking. So this is where alcohol comes in as your ally with plausible justifiability. She will always justify it and rationalize the sex if it eventually happens. So if you're not a drinker, what you can actually do, and years ago at one stage in my life, I totally was not drinking any alcohol for about 4 or 5 years. But what I would do is I would still have my glass or my cup in the club, but it'll be filled with orange juice or apple juice, any sort of juice, even soda, and the girl would still be under the impression that I'm drinking some alcohol. So I can still rapidly escalate and get sexual with the girl under the guise that I'm drinking, so it is normal and excusable for me to get sexual with the girl because I'm drinking and she is also drinking. But if you're not consuming any alcohol, what justifiable reason do you have for becoming sexual with the girl inside of a club? It's like going full-on sexual with a girl during day game on the streets and so forth during the AM or the daytime. What justifiable reason do you have to go full-on sexual with a girl during the daytime? There's none. So in the club now, while the stimulus are there, the stimuli are there, and the alcohol are there, you always have plausible justifiability to get sexual fast with the girl, and she's likely to excuse your behavior because of the alcohol. Generally, there are 2 types of girls at the club. One, you have the girl who's running around like a whirling dervish. She's tipsy, she's engaged, she's dancing, she's whirling around the place, and she's very erratic. Secondly, there's a girl who's sitting there at the bar, thumbing with her drink, and listening to the music, not actually listening, not actually engaged, not soaking in the environment, but she's there sitting bored, and she's not there in the moment. She's somewhere else. She's distant from everything that is going on. She's essentially bored, and you can tell that. The girl who's erratic and running around is obviously a much harder target to game. So I implore you to firstly seek out the best target of opportunity, which is the girl who's sitting at the bar counter, tapping away to the music, looking down, gazing down into her drink, somewhat bored and away. She is the best target in order to approach. Usually these girls are alone. With these girls, the ones who are at the bar counter alone, they don't usually go by the time constraint, in the sense that since they're there alone, there's no one whom they are beholden to when it comes to leaving early. So those girls are typically game and prime to leave in the club or the bar early because they're there alone. So you want to game those girls because they are bored, obviously, they are lacking stimulation, and you can come in as the guy who's going to inject them with that stimulation, that fun type of vibe that they are craving but don't currently have. But if you're going to approach the girl who's dancing and she's engaged, she's erratic and drinking and all around the place, I mean, it's typically harder to try to seduce that girl because she already has stimulation. So go for the girl who are somewhat away and distant from what is going on in the environment. So you can be at the bar and just like scoping the scene to pick out and single out those girls who are in lack of stimulation, and try to seduce them firstly, while still gaming other girls intermittently during the night. I include this video on the point of alcohol in relation to should you buy or should you not buy. Generally, and this is great advice from the pickup world, you should not buy girls drinks, especially early during the night. Why not? Well, if you buy girls drinks throughout the club, you're putting yourself in the he's trying to buy my pussy bracket. You're putting yourself into the bracket of the guys who are trying to buy the girl, buy her attention, buy her affection and so forth. So you don't want to put yourself in that bracket by being the guy who's circulating the club, buying girls drinks left to right. Because at the end of the day, there's no guarantee that the girl is going to go home with you if you buy her a drink. Buying girls drinks is not down payment on the pussy, guys. You have to realize that. So there's no advantage to buying girls drinks early during the night, especially, or any time during your attempted seduction of the girl. However, at one point, or a point in the game that is somewhat okay to buy a girl a drink, is when she's locked in, is when you have the girl isolated one-on-one, and it is you and her, it is in the seduction phase, and everything seems melded together. She is sold on you, she indicated that she likes you, and her body language suggests this, she gives off that vibe. It is at that point you can buy the girl a drink, preferably a non-alcoholic drink, because let's say you're suggesting to the girl, hey, you want a drink, you want another alcoholic beverage, she's gonna surmise to herself, you know what, this guy is trying to get me drunk, take me home, take advantage of me, possibly rape me. So you want to avoid this at all costs. So suggest a juice, suggest a soda, suggest an energy drink, suggest anything that is non-alcoholic. If she then says to herself, no, I don't want that shit, that is too soft for me, I want an alcoholic beverage, cool, by all means, it's on her, she's down, get her the alcoholic beverage. But if you're going to suggest it during the isolation phase, when you're trying to take the girl home later during the night, when you have her locked in one-on-one, suggest non-alcoholic drinks. All right? So guys, remember, put this shit all together and select the best one of these tips that best suit your game, best suit your style, and you can work your game from there in trying to get a girl home. You don't necessarily have to employ every tip and every strategy that I dished out there for you guys. Select the one that best suits your style. And let me know what you like or what you didn't like, what you wish you would have I would have touched on, and so forth. Give it input. I'm all cool with it. All right.